guys, it's Cindy, the LD educator here, and I am a special education teacher sharing hope and dispelling myths about learning disabilities. As you can see, I am outside enjoying this beautiful Georgia air. It's been a little rough winter. Sure, not as rough as it is for my teachers up in the north, but yet we're not used to all of this harsh weather. So it was awesome being able to get outside today. And in fact, one of my students just left and I decided to hop on because I'm supposed to be doing a video this week on dyscalculia. But I decided to kind of hold off on doing that video because I wanted to talk to you guys about the recent scandal with the testing or the college students getting into these Ivy League schools. Yeah, it's a little bit disheartening. I still have to pack up and get my stuff. I have one more student who's waiting to go. So instead of continuing with the series that I'm doing on specific learning disabilities, I am going to talk to you guys about the cheating scandal. So all of my students are gone. And if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe and click the bell button so that you will not miss any of my videos. Now, do not look at my desk area, or you can look at it. Just don't judge me. It is really junky, and it's as junky as it looks, right? Anyway, I work hard, so I'm gonna forgive myself. Anyway, for those of you who don't know, about 2 days ago, the FBI revealed that they had been doing or are doing an investigation, code name Operation Varsity Blues, and basically there has been this network of like immensely wealthy people who have been basically paying their children's way into gaining access to all of these Ivy League schools. It's like one thing to kind of have it like put out there, like I could guess that it happens and it happens more than what we know, but to really hear the fact that someone is paying like $500,000 for their children to gain access to these prestigious schools are like, it's just ridiculous, you know? And I don't know, it kind of hit home for me because I don't know if many of you actually thought about it, but it really has an impact on people with disabilities. Why? Because a lot of these parents were encouraged to basically get these fake diagnoses or to have their kids pretend that they had some type of issue so that they can get accommodations. In fact, let me read the statement to you. The investigation also revealed that the counselor facilitated the cheating by instructing parents to seek extended time for their children on college entrance exams, which included having the children purport to having learning disabilities in order to obtain the required medical documentation. You know, it's almost like I don't have words because, so here's the deal. I don't even know if I have all the words to adequately express how I feel right now. I mean, you know, obviously as a Black person, with hearing, you know, some people talk about the affirmative action, and I get it. No one wants to feel like someone is being given something over them. In which that's not what our affirmative action is or has ever meant. You know, it was just to give underserved populations an opportunity to gain access, right? So that's neither here nor there. But I'm not speaking per se as a Black person right now. I'm speaking as a person who has a documented disability, who, man, like there was a decent college, it wasn't an Ivy League school that I wasn't granted access to, and it hurts to know that there's people who don't even have a disability who could use that as a crutch, just to say, to make their way easier to get in some of these schools. And it's really sad because at the end of the day, it actually hurts people with disabilities. I want to share with you guys this post that I recently found on Instagram, and I actually shared it. And what it said was, it says that dyslexia does not care about your race, gender, social status, location, religion, or sexuality. It's a human condition. So we're all in this together. Now, it is so true. There's nothing at all wrong with that. It is fact. It is the truth. And the sad thing though is that although it's the truth, it is also truth that people who are underserved, whether they be black or white, but people who don't have access to all the fabulous research-based things that are out there, people who don't have access to great public schools, people who don't have access to all these wonderful educational therapists and tutors and so forth, who also have a learning disability, they get shafted. And as someone who has kind of dedicated her life to working with students who are from underserved areas, no matter what their race is, it is so frustrating. So for those of you who don't know, I started a nonprofit organization that eventually I ended up opening an accredited school for, specifically for underserved students who don't have an alternative to public education. Kids who a lot of times do not reach their full potential in public schools because they don't have access to the right type of education, the intensity. So for me, this hits home because I know the struggle I encounter trying to get these students access. And recently I had a college athlete that I work with that it was an uphill battle to try to just get eligible, to get into a school or to go to a school. And one of the things that I encountered was the rigorous process that you had to go through and the documentation that you needed to get the acquired accommodations. And I'm telling you, it was not easy. And it was such a rough process. I don't want to say I gave up, but I told him, hey, we're going to pray and you're going to go in there and take that test and all is going to be well. And, thank God that, for him, he wasn't going to an Ivy League school. So it ended up working out. But I just think, here's someone who had who was legally entitled to get accommodations. And just because of the different types of things that needed to be in place, and because he didn't have access to those things, it made it very difficult. I jumped through hoops trying to get him an update psychological. And by the time we were able to get all of that we didn't pay for, that we had to go back to the public school to get after a fight, it was too late. He had missed all of the deadlines and it was all he could do but to pay for the test and to go and take the test. So to think that there are people who just go and say, hey, I'm going to decide to be disabled so that I could get extended time on this test, it is just so hurtful. And what people don't understand is that, disabilities or learning disabilities are called hidden disabilities for a reason. A lot of times when you see people who have these types of disabilities, they look just like everyday people. And oftentimes, people challenge them, well, do they really need this accommodation? Well, they don't talk like they need it. They understand this. And so it will just, to me, cement in people's minds that, there's a group of people who are fighting for these accommodations who don't need it. So at the end of the day, it hurts. And it hurts the very people that it was put in place for. I recall seeing this picture on social media where books were stacked so that the person who was shorter had the same access as the person who was taller. And unfortunately, in our society, we keep putting books under people who are already tall. And with this case, that's exactly what happened. People who already had it all, people who, if their child never got a college degree, that nothing about their life would have been altered. But they decide, because of their privilege, because of their wealth, they want to take something from someone else who rightfully owned it. And once again, for it to just cast shadow over people, there are tons and tons of people who just really need extended time, who need every single accommodation that they're entitled to, but you just want to decide and give yourself a label so that you can. It's just mind-blowing to me. And I happened to see another news interview where one of the students on her YouTube page, she basically said that what is it? She said, I just want the experience. I want to go to parties and I want to go to football games. Like, wow, I wish it was that easy. Once again, speaking as a first generation college student who went to school with a disability, and because of my lack of knowledge, I didn't even have the knowledge to be able to go and say, hey, I have a disability, I need help. And there were plenty of games that I never went to. There were plenty of parties that I never went to because I chose to stay in my room and to rewrite my notes and to reread over my paper and to pre-read whatever it is that I thought was coming up next so that I would have a better chance of doing well. And it's so crazy. Just the other day, I was talking to one of my girlfriends and I told her if I had the opportunity to do college over again, the one thing that I would do would be to party more. Now, let me preface that. I wouldn't want to have lost my mind, but I sacrificed that carefree feeling to an extent that college students have. That same experience that she wants, I sacrificed so that I wouldn't get kicked out. And here you are saying that that's all you want to go there for. And it's like, I tell you, it just hurt me to my heart to see the lackadaisical attitude and then to see a parent who would go out of their way to do what they were doing for their child who, like, is nothing. And like, but on the other hand, do you know that truly education changes people's lives? Like, I don't think they get it. And maybe I am a little emotional right now. Please forgive me. But it just hurts. Like, once again, I came across this other lady, and if I can find it, I will actually put it up here. But she was, or she's a writer, and she basically gave us the scoop. And she was like, that's just the tip of the iceberg. She said, what you think happens when those same students get in college? She said, then they hire people like me. And she was like, you know, I'm not happy about some of the papers that I wrote or some of the resumes that I made look glowing when they were mediocre. And she was like, but at the end of the day, I had to pay my bills too. And so I don't even have an issue with her. I guess it's life is sad. And I guess it reinforces to me that it doesn't even matter. Having a degree don't matter, or it doesn't always matter, because you can work your hardest and then you will have people who will still game the system just because they can. Of course, I don't know. At the end of the day, I believe in education. I believe that education opens doors. And I will tell my students to work their hardest, continue to believe in the system. But it's sad that the reality is, just maybe based on luck, they can work all day long. But if they ever come up against somebody who wants to game the system and who has the power and the means and the resource, their hard work may not mean anything. And my call to action for every person in the United States, we have to make this wealth divide not a divide. And not to say that it's equal, because if you have money and if you worked hard and you build, you deserve every piece of it. But we have to make the American dream a reality and not some pie in the sky thing that we say. Because right now, that's what it is. It is not. Everybody didn't have equal opportunity to this American dream. And as we're seeing, even a good education may not always give you access. I guess that's my rant, guys. I don't know. It's just sad. So I am going to sign off right now. Thank you guys for listening. I would love to hear your thoughts. Comment below. And remember, if you have not subscribed, please subscribe. And those of you who have been following me for my videos or the series that I'm doing on common learning disabilities, I will be posting another one up maybe in a couple of more days. I don't want to lose traction with that. So I love you guys. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to see and hearing your opinion on this subject as well. Bye.